I think that's great because, I totally need to know if I need to be chasing dopamine too. Maybe I'm missing out on something spectacular. I don't know.
Hey Chasers, I'm Mercedes.
And I'm Mama Telanna.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is.
Welcome to the Chasing 100 Club, where we're talking about our 100 biggest goals. And today we're talking about my goal to chase dopamine.
Anybody know what that is?
So this is not Mom's goal. This is Mercedes' goal. We created a long list of our 100 goals. Well, we didn't list them all, but we're working on the list. And this was the one that she was like, why are you chasing dopamine? And I was like, well, yeah, so that obviously has to be the one that we do first because we're all going to learn things here today.
We are. We're going to learn what chasing dopamine is because when I saw it on the list, I don't know. Y'all can tell me. Maybe I'm just old. Maybe this Gen X mom is just too old, but I didn't know what she was talking about, and I was more thinking along the lines, do I need to get her some therapy?
Yes.
Do I need to crack her phone? What's going on here? So I'm glad that we're doing this. It was actually towards the middle of our list, but when I saw it, we knew it had to be at the top. Because in order for us to do this podcast, I'm going to need a clue, right? So...
A clue?
Yeah, a clue. A clue what's these things you're chasing that clearly I don't understand because...
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
That was very 90s of you.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
All right, cool.
90s? Those were the best years, girl. Don't play.
I know, but it was
Don't
nobody says that anymore.
I do.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a clue.
Thank you.
The why. Why am I chasing dopamine? So... less than a year ago, I self-diagnosed with ADHD using TikTok.
Mm.
And then I went to a psychiatrist, and they were like, yeah, you definitely have ADHD. And I was like, I know. And Mommy is not coping with that, but it's okay. She's on her own journey.
I am coping just fine. Here, I believe, just like my generation believes in... WebMD diagnosis.
Oh my
I can
gosh.
see how TikTok helps you out.
But I'm on my neurodivergent discovery phase or journey, and so one thing that I really learned on that is learned about that was kind of the lack of dopamine in ADHD brains, which contributes to a lot of things. And so I started to really understand that chasing dopamine was part of what I really need to thrive and live. It wasn't just something that felt like leisure. And so I'm going to talk about that today and how I created this A Black Woman Pursuing Bliss, aka dopamine persona, and why I think it's a requirement in my life and how that's going to help me chase my other 99 goals.
I think that's great because I totally need to know if I need to be chasing dopamine too. Maybe I'm missing out on something spectacular. I don't know. So.
Okay, so I did a little bit of research because I have been on this little bit of self-discovery about ADHD, dopamine, but it's actually kind of a trend and at play for a lot of mental health, issues or topics, whether you think it's an issue or a challenge, but I've fully embrace kind of this part. But basically, low levels of dopamine is actually associated with ADHD, and there's some ADHD medications that actually help to boost dopamine. And dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your brain, and it's responsible for things like pleasure, reward, satisfaction, feeling motivated. And so there's kind of this cycle for people who have ADHD, when they don't have kind of enough dopamine in their brain/lives, that they, that it's hard for them. They get kind of in this burnout cycle. They're not able to achieve different things that they want to achieve. And so they have to be, or I have to be intentional about making sure that I have, dopamine checkpoints for myself throughout the day and the week. So that's why I'm chasing or pursuing dopamine.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I guess I don't. It's weird to say that you're chasing dopamine.
It is, yeah.
And of course, I can't expand on that anymore right now because I don't know what your list looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm figuring dopamine might just be normal stuff. So
it
I
is
don't know.
normal stuff. I feel like a lot of times when I'm telling you like ADHD things, you're like, this is normal stuff.
I don't know because it's normal to me. So I don't know.
Okay.
What we got?
All right. Okay. So I actually have like a dopamine routine. So there's a couple of things that I did to, I don't know, like try and embed more dopamine into my day. So I would realize that I'd be like so focused on work, and then on the weekend I'd want to do like business stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I was feeling like I didn't have time to pursue quote unquote dopamine or things that would make me happy or blissful.
Okay.
And I kind of felt like, not that it was lazy, but that it was taking away like the time that I would take to, you know, spend in leisure or to enjoy things. That would be taking away from me getting further in whatever goal I had. I created a couple of different things in my life. So every Friday at noon, like when I had lunchtime, I would use that lunchtime to plan something fun to do on the weekend or the following week, or something like self-care, something that kind of filled me up. And then I created a list of different things that I could embed like during the day to kind of help it, you know, create more opportunities to feel that joy. So like the last time I did that was really intentional. I went to like, I dragged Brandon, my fiance, to Painting with a Twist, and that was amazing. And I made a cute video, TikTok video.
Poor guy.
I felt like it. No, he was.
I'm just joking.
He just
sure
likes
he
to see me happy,
yes.
So he doesn't care. So yeah, but I have on here on my dopamine routine, like I have it on as a daily habit in my Notion board. That'll probably be another thing to teach people. But anyway, my Notion board where I have like, go for a walk, do something creative like draw, or, you know, I don't know, like I make memes at work. That gives me dopamine. Connecting with nature, so like, you know, going to a park or going kayaking. Having an in-home concert is what I call it. So I tell Brandon to go outside and I just turn up the music like it's on Sunday when we had to clean.
Okay.
Sunday cleaning music.
Okay.
Not gospel, but like...
Doesn't have to be gospel.
Yeah. But, you know, just, like, really happy, exciting music. Do something that's new, like a novel thing, like go to a different restaurant. Or I had, like, a Bay appreciation on there, so I would, like, stop home and, like, pick him up some magic cards, because that would make me happy seeing him open his cards. And then I have random acts of kindness for...
Where's my random act? Wait a minute.
Did I give you
Did you send me a random act yet?
I think so. I feel like I did. I bought breakfast this morning.
It wasn't a good breakfast.
But it was still a random act.
I actually know if that counts if it wasn't a good breakfast. But yes, thank you. We appreciate the breakfast, even though it wasn't a great breakfast, and we shall not say where that was, but
it was bad.
So I love you sharing this list. And so for me, looking at the list,
go ahead, say what you say. Go ahead and say it.
When have I ever not said what I wanted to say?
You look like
I'm ready to dig in here, okay? So I love the idea that this is a list that you've created for yourself, because when I was your age, I didn't necessarily do these things for myself. It wasn't a real priority, right? And so part of that was like me constantly on this busy path and not even recognizing that I needed these things in my life. Mm-hmm. However, here comes the big, you should never say but, so I'm going to say however.
That's the same thing.
I know, but you know.
Do you feel better
I do feel better saying however. Okay. I hope you feel better too.
Thank you.
So however, I don't know. So I feel like these things are just normal things that women should do to connect with themselves. And, you know, we always have this conversation because, of course, I come from a generation that obviously was not politically correct. And so I am learning, and so I say that to our listeners too, in case I offend you somewhere down the road.
Gosh.
I'm not trying to offend you. I'm honestly trying to understand, which means that I have to relearn some things and know that whatever conversations we have and whatever things that I may not necessarily understand, you have my full support in whatever you're doing, even if I don't understand.
Are you trying not to get canceled?
Look, I'm not even.
We're not even there
yet. No. I've been through too much in my life to be worried about being canceled by anybody. However, this is what I'm saying. So for me, looking at this, I'm like, this dopamine routine is just, for me, something that my generation, I feel like, wasn't taught. So of course, if I wasn't taught that, I didn't necessarily pass that on to you. And I guess that's the part where I struggle with when I say, okay, I feel like this is something that all women should do. Like, we should all create the space in our lives to do more of the things that we love, which is a big part of my coaching, right, with women, is to help you unlock your desires. And I think that these are part of our everyday desires. So would I call it chasing dopamine? For me, no, of course not. But I do love being able to say, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. And I am really conscious about feeding myself the things that I need to thrive, which is exactly what this is. So I just have a different perspective and a different name for it, right? I'm very conscious about making sure that my morning, the first hour or so, is for me, because if it's not for me, I'm going to turn into that Snicker commercial, y'all. Y'all know that Snicker commercial.
I think you got accused of that this morning.
You know what? I did.
But you did have a Snicker though, girl. You did have a Snicker.
I did. So I totally get this. I totally get this perspective of it.
So I will say that the thing that kind of made saying it this way for me helpful, like in the journey, is that I did take time to think about, okay, you know, I do need self-care or whatever. But I saw that as something that was done after everything else was done. You know, or that I had to sacrifice something for. And now when I think about it from like more of like neurological, and it is purely like mindset, right? It helped me look at it differently. It doesn't actually like in the way that you could embed them into life, but it requires me to be more intentional and to commit to being more intentional about it. Because whereas before I would think, okay, well, it's not really key for me to have dopamine or to be at leisure or to have self-care to support me, right? I now see that as my brain and who I am ceases to function unless I have those things to fill me up. So I see it as a come first type of thing now versus a come second thing.
Okay.
And I think when I think about the fact that, okay, it's almost like filling a cup, you know?
Right.
It's like, okay, well, Mercedes, if you don't have this much dopamine in your cup today, like I didn't have any cup of coffee today, then it's not working, you know? So, and I think even though it's a small little like shift in mindset, it really changed the way that I look at being intentional about, you know, what I do and how I spend my time.
You know, for me and Purpose Minded Woman, a big part of my platform is about taking ownership of your life and living intentionally. And so I think this is one of the big things that people struggle with at every age. So what do you do specifically to make sure that these things happen in your life? Because it's so easy to, you know, skip over it and say, you know, I just don't have time for it today. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. I will say, like, I'm still on that because, like, sometimes I'll have a big list to do, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going to add, you know, my dopamine routine into that big list to do. But I feel like, you know, responding to a coaching client or making my social media posts or responding to a work email during my lunchtime, right, is, like, more important than that. So I can't say that I've, like, perfected, you know, the pursuit of dopamine thus far, chasing dopamine thus far. But what I can say is I think that making it a to-do list, so in Notion, I have all of my habits and my tasks and things that I'm going to do, and I move things around with priority. And so one of the things that I do is I have my dopamine routine on there. So I really have to check it off every single day. Otherwise, it sits on my priority list. And it doesn't so much make sure that I do it every single day, because I don't. But it keeps it at, like, top of mind. So now I'm like, oh, man, I didn't check off my dopamine list today. I didn't do that yesterday or the day before. Okay, I need to do something fun this weekend. Like, I need to go to Painting with a Twist, or, you know, I need to go, sometimes it's like, go sit out in the garden, you know. But I think that one strategy is making sure that it stays very ADHD of me, right? Like, stays front of my face.
If you say so.
Shut up.
I'm just saying.
Shut up.
How am I supposed to know?
Listen, I'm not trying to call you out, okay? But I just think if you think too many things that I feel are ADHD things are normal, okay, that's all I'm going to say. But, you know, I think one of the things is just having something that makes it be in front of my face every single day.
What I think I hear you saying is that...
Okay, coach.
And it may
Okay,
not
coach.
necessarily be... It's not a simple thing. Like, it's not an overnight thing. This whole thing is a process as you get to learn and know yourself and what works for yourself. And I'm saying that to say we don't have to beat up ourselves when we don't do these things, right? So
No,
you're
that doesn't help boost
right,
dopamine.
exactly. So you have
Quite
your
opposite.
habit, which I would call like a habit tracker in Notion, to really say, hey, these are the things that I want to do, the things that I'm working on doing, and each and every day I'm getting stronger and recognizing, the word that I like to use is honor. So you're honoring yourself and what you need to replenish when you do these things. And so I love that it's readily available for you. And of course, we love Notion, and we love Notion because it's always with you, whether it's on your desktop, your laptop, or on your phone. It's always available for you to see those things that really, you know, help lift you up. So I love that.
I'm sure you do.
I do.
Girl, shut up. Yeah, even though it's not necessarily a goal.
Strategies.
You do? That's good. I want to hear what your dopamine is in just a minute, though.
Girl.
Is that... Are you...
What?
Were you making an innuendo?
No. Oh my gosh.
Why did you say it like that? It was like, girl, let me tell you. I don't need to hear none of that.
No.
None of that. Okay, so some of the other things that I saw. Actually, the reason why I started calling it, like, dopamine, like, routine is because I saw somebody on TikTok. I know everything's on TikTok. But she had a dopamine jar. And so what she would do is she put, you know, like 50 things that, you know, could help her, you know, feel dopamine or what, you know, I don't know. Neurotransmitters.
No, that's like exactly like KJ's list out there.
Does KJ have a list?
The kitchen. Yeah, he's got exciting things for me to do.
Oh, okay. KJ is your son, or my brother.
Yes.
Just so they know. But that's cute. Yeah. So maybe KJ has ADHD. I'm just joking.
You know what?
Listen, mommy, I keep finding that the neurodivergent find each other. I'm just saying.
That's okay.
So yeah, like a dopamine jar, and you pick something out of it every day, or whenever you're feeling like you need a dopamine, you know, Snickers bar.
I shouldn't say hit.
Hit? Oh yeah. No. Don't say that. Don't say a dopamine hit. Okay.
Sorry.
It's not a drug. It's a neurotransmitter. Also, I've seen people that like have like you know, like those date books that people are like, it just gives you a bunch of ideas and then you write down when you're gonna do them, or like travel books, like people do that, like go to a new restaurant. Nice. Like that way you don't have to think about what you are gonna do, you just pick something from the book. Make sure I'm intentional about doing something different.
Yes, because every time you say yes to yourself and what you want, you're saying no to the distractions.
You're so cute.
You are cute too.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I want to hear about what is your dopamine Why are you looking at me like that? What's your dopamine routine, Mommy?
My dopamine routine. Well, first of all, like part of my dopamine routine right now is Notion.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
it gives
Notion
a large amount of dopamine.
is like literally in my calendar, and I'm in Notion every day. So that's one of my dopamine things. Of course, I was a paper crafter. I'm not crafting paper anymore. I'm not doing a lot of crafting, but that in the past was one of my things, and just being able to be just creative. I think also for me in many ways that dopamine hit. Sorry. Okay.
It's okay.
Can I say spike? No, that's probably not right.
That's
either.
Worse. That sounds like you.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's why we shouldn't be
just
using
say dopamine hit. It's not a drug. It's not a drug.
I know. It just sounds like it should
It does
be.
actually sounds like
like it should be. So I think for me, and this is partly because I have another business, I think I get this rush as well. I think rush. I like rush.
Rush
I
is
get
good.
this when I'm coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it for me. I do love to get on the treadmill and watch Doctor Who. That's really the only time I do watch TV, because TV is bad for y'all.
Oh my gosh.
It's bad for you.
Okay, is that a scientific thing? Or is that just what you
No, that's
think?
just normal, because like you could be doing other things.
Oh, okay. But it's
just
not
joking.
like, it's
No,
okay. It's
no.
not, okay. Because I was like,
Yeah.
okay. Because I thought you were
Absolutely
going
not.
somewhere else with that. I was like, you just mean that it's a productivity.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
but
about-
yeah, but dopamine, but
Yeah,
watching
but
TV could
exactly.
be dopamine.
It could be.
It's
It
not
could
bad
be
for you.
So
Shame on you.
I take that back. I take that back, because then they'll be telling me I can't watch Doctor Who.
Yes, exactly.
And then we
And
gonna
that's a
fight.
lot of dopamine.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gonna
or
fight.
Marvel. You can't watch Marvel movies or Doctor Who.
Does anybody want to watch Marvel movies right now?
Well, we finished the phase, so
Oh, okay.
well, because we got to watch Ant-Man, and then we'll get back into the new
okay.
phase,
Okay.
Ant-Man and Quantumania or whatever.
Okay.
And then
so-
we'll-
sorry.
That's fine.
Got off topic. And so yes, also for me, like, I love running them acts of kindness too. So like one of my favorite things is just to go on GoFundMe and just give people money, because over the years I've given a lot of money to church buildings that never got built.
Girl, shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably
I'm leaving that in there.
I probably wasn't supposed to say
Somebody's
that.
gonna hear
Oh
that
my
and be like, "Oh,
gosh.
she talking about me." No, I'm sorry.
Well, if you were set free from that, praise the Lord. So I love to just go on GoFundMe and just do, pay for things. I just look for random things that people need help with, because that's one of my goals. Okay, one of my 100 goals that we'll get into later is really having either my own nonprofit through Purpose Minded Woman, or through supporting another nonprofit where, like, I just want to do normal things, like pay somebody's electricity bill, or pay somebody's daycare, those type of things. I just want to do normal, average things for people that need help with everyday things,
Like
That's-
mini grants for just like what.
Yeah,
whatever
that's just
comes
what
up,
my
just
heart is
like-
in. Yeah, like nobody should have to wake up and figure out how the heck they're gonna pay their electricity bill, and how they're gonna pay for food, or how they're gonna put gas in their car. Like, nobody should have to do that. It's ridiculous that people even have to do that in this country anyway. So
Well, I think we're going to need to add chasing philanthropy, chasing
yes,
nonprofit to
yes,
this.
yes,
Okay, go ahead and write
chasing,
that down.
yes, because that's an important component,
Yeah.
in
So
our
I
giving.
actually have like a question for you, because I feel like we probably will have a lot of people who don't know what Notion is. So what is Notion, and why does it give you a dopamine hit?
So Notion is, I'm probably not going to actually say exactly what it is, Notion's description of it, but it is a tool that allows you to save documentation. It allows you to put notes in it. It's a combination of, if you ever heard of Asana, Trello, Evernote, all of these type of things where you can manage not only information, online information, but information about your life. And the thing that drives me insanely happy about Notion is because I'm so empowered to build a second brain for myself. I read the book. I didn't remember the name of the book, but it was, because I can't say the author's last name, but it was about building a second brain. And really, our brains are not meant to store ideas. Our brains are not meant to store all the things that we do, which is why we often feel overwhelmed. And so what I'm using Notion for is to really put all of what I feel like sometimes it's all of my life, right? To really organize my life in a way where I feel empowered by it, where I'm not having notes all over the place. I'm not leaving amazing ideas written in a notebook anywhere. And so it brings me joy to be able to use that. It brings me joy to not have clutter, not only in my physical area, but in my mind as well, because a lot of us walk around with clutter.
Well, anyway, so we went on this, and also I'm going to be petty really quick.
Go ahead, be petty.
Because, anyway, so it was this period I had found Notion just looking productivity stuff on YouTube, and I sent it to her. I sent her Notion, and she was like, oh, that's nice. And then...
No, ma'am.
Yes, that is what
I'll
happened.
Let you finish. I won't be like a politician. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. And she was like, oh, that's nice. And then I was like, oh, I'm going back and forth of like whether to use it or not. And then she comes to me talking about Notion this and Notion that. And then she kind of re-Notioned me. And now we're both into a full Notion rabbit hole, which is where this podcast episode is quickly going.
Can I please?
No, we're running out of time.
Okay,
no, I'm just kidding. No,
we're gonna correct this,
time.
Right? This is the last thing we're gonna say about Notion, and it's,
oh my gosh,
it's kaput.
Other than do Notion.
Yes, other than do Notion. So I'm gonna correct this story for you because clearly you missed out the most important part of your story of you sending me the stuff about Notion.
Oh my God! Do not say that.
I would just like to say yes. I cannot tell a lie. She first sent me the information about Notion. But she sent me an ugly template, okay? She sent me this ugly template and was like, you might like this.
Functionally, obviously, everybody can't look cute like we do all the time on the internet.
Okay, now that I know what I know about Notion, the template wasn't even functioning.
No, it wasn't. Because it didn't give you a dopamine hit, girl. Look at that. Exactly. Just full circle.
But that's why I gotta be creative and do my own things. And that's what I do for my clients too. I give them pretty things.
They do.
No one should have that ugly template. That template was off.
I would say if we're talking about like chasing dopamine, I would honestly say that a lot of the time that I spent being frustrated on not having a way to organize life or my brain or my thoughts or what I'm doing, that.
Yeah, so if that makes me ADHD, I take it. Because I got to have
girl, oh my God. Well, I'm just glad that you added yourself.
I have to have an organized life, okay? God. I have to have an organized brain. I have to know what direction I'm going in. And you can't do that when stuff's all over the place.
All I'm saying is that I'm letting her go on her own journey, but I have already diagnosed her. I haven't told her that yet.
I am not going on
but
a journey.
It's hereditary.
Okay, but I am about to be 50 years old. If I'm going 50 years old without an ADHD diagnosis, I'm going to keep going.
Okay, but so what if you found a list of everything that was great for ADHD brains? And, like, it was just, everything's perfect.
Girl, I just told you I'm 50 years old. I'm already dumbfounded.
No, because you didn't know about Notion a year ago.
So I found it.
Oh, you just said Notion is the end all be all? Okay, well, all right. We're done talking about Notion.
Exactly.
Okay, so I talked about how, like, because part of this is, like, talking about our goals and then but the ramification is like these are life goals. And I think when I think about like this chasing 100 thing is that should be part of like life, and I should have it so much embedded into my life that it means that chasing dopamine will always be one of my big 100 goals. So I think probably we've gone through most of, the things that we wanted to chat about today. But one of the things that I really quickly wanted to list off, especially if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, well, we get what you're saying, right? Like, you need leisure, you need rest, you need peace. But when I talk about putting that first on your list and everything comes second, I'm literally going to list off some of the things that dopamine impacts, not leisure, having more dopamine in your life that can come from many different ways, such as exercise or watching a movie or doing something new, anything that kind of fills your cup up, is that. So it helps you with learning, motivation, your heart rate, blood vessel function, kidney function, lactation, sleep, mood, attention, control of nausea and vomiting. Isn't that kind of crazy? Pain processing, and then straight up movement. That's crazy that the feeling of pleasure itself and joy impacts literally all of these different areas of your life.
It is.
That's all I have to say. Drop mic.
And that's why you have to be very intentional about doing it. So for me, I take that intentionality up even a little higher than Mercedes seeing it on her Notion board. Mm-hmm. When I get with my people, I'm like, no, we're going to schedule it. When I get with my purpose-minded woman and coaching, I'm like, let's schedule this. Pull out your phone, put it in there, rename it something exciting that gives you a lot of joy, and have that in there, Of course, unless having a alert go off is something that doesn't work for you, right? If it's something that doesn't, but if it's something that that you're okay with having that alert, do that. Be intentional to the point where now you've created this wonderful habit for yourself and you don't even need that. Because let me tell you, after I make my son's lunch in the morning, the next thing I do, I say, okay, bye-bye, baby. I got my coffee, and I come in my closet, which I call my think tank.
You should call it your think tank, because it feels weird saying you go to spend time in your closet.
It is my think tank. I have a desk in my closet that is my think tank, and I come in here and I pour into myself. First thing in the morning, I do my devotions. I do some other readings, and I am able to pour into other people throughout the day. As my husband would say, the passive aggressiveness.
Oh my God, the Nita Snicker moment, girl.
Is out of sight, out of mind, right? Because I'm filling my cup first.
So I was also thinking that, when we talk about, you're talking about kind of women and having this purpose-filled life. But I think when I talk about, one, working with career coaching clients absolutely fills me up. But I think about how many women are in a job every single day that is, completely soul-sucking, that's toxic, that has them, and I used to be there, right? Crying in my office, in between meetings and going home and stress eating and
absolutely
in a coma on the couch, and I think about kind of that thing of we do deserve for at least part of our dopamine cup, right, to be filled up by the work that I do or that we do. And I don't think that, those two things have to be segmented. I think we're in this kind of weird trend in life. Well, I don't even know if it's a trend. Maybe it's not. Maybe I just live in a bubble of thinking that this is life. I probably do. But where people just, they're chasing a certain belief of a career or a field that should fulfill them. For instance, tech right now. But then they get into the job and they're realizing oh, well, this, the makeup of that job wasn't what I really wanted to do. I thought that, just me having the type of money that I want in my bank account every day was going to help me fulfill, what all of those other things, all of the other sources. And I think that, right, we should also be intentional about ensuring that the work that we do the type of jobs that we have, our career path, our profession, whatever you want to call it, also gives us those dopamine hits as well. Like, I love the work that I do. I love talent acquisition. I also love coaching. You said you love coaching.
I do.
And I think, right, I can't imagine what would happen if throughout the day I was just working all day and I never had any of those, like, dopamine hits. So it should be ingrained in like a way of life, right? It should be part of your career. Yeah. It should be part of your passion, your nonprofit, whatever you choose to do. It's not, it's also first in those conversations too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think, just thinking back on my generation, Gen X, we were taught to pursue work. Yeah. Not that we loved, we were taught to pursue work that was safe, that gave us a certain level of security. And oftentimes that security came from going to college and taking up a career that someone else in your family did.
Yeah.
However, when I look at this generation, whether it's your millennials or I guess Gen Zs or
I'm the youngest millennial, so I feel like I'm...
So looking at millennials and even some of the Gen Zs now.
I think it's mostly Gen Z and like a little bit of like the youngest millennials, because I feel like the older millennials are still like, we're just struggling here.
Well, when I'm thinking, but they're also transitioning too. But
they are.
Unlike my generation where we looked at our work life based upon either family members or something, I think that there's a part of this generation that looks at it from online, right? So they see different careers, whether it's on TikTok or whether it's on social media or whether it's in influencers, and they decide that that's what they want for their life, even without knowing, exactly what that is. And so we went from chasing our parents' dreams to a new generation that's chasing strangers' dreams, right?
I was about to say, it's like a double-edged sword where, like, I get to see all these different career paths.
Exactly.
I can really... And, like, I always, like, love telling my clients, like, go watch day in the life content online for the, for the job that you're interested in. Like, there's so much out there. But then on the other hand, like, there's so much of different pieces that get glamorized of, like, okay, well, sure, you like going down to the cafeteria at lunch and, like, in this cute little, like, funky startup type feel, but do you like the ambiguity of being in a startup funky type feel? Do you like, the no documentation, no resource, no process kind of feel? Or you like that innovative, go with the flow kind of person? Because if you're not, then that's going to drive you crazy. Whereas you could still have that type of feel and environment in a more structured company if that's what you truly like. But yes, I do think that there's like a certain amount of like influencer type thing at play with people figuring out like what that really is, which, when we think about it like in a big circular kind of thing, it's like, well, a big part of this is figuring out what that is truly for you. We don't often spend time reflecting on what are the things in our lives that do fill us up, that we do enjoy, that do give us a dopamine rush.
And so that's what I was going to say as a nice way to wrap up.
Did you say I didn't say it nice?
No, I was going to say as a nice way to wrap up this conversation is that a big part of chasing dopamine is really understanding what you need, not chasing what other people's dopamine looks like. It's really figuring out what are the things that drive you, what are the things that motivate you, what are the things that intrinsically push you towards being your best self, being the best version of yourself, and living the best version of the life that you desire. And in order to do that, you really have to know what you want, because if you spend time following what other people are doing, you're just going to mess yourself up, right? Because you're not living your life. You're living somebody else's life. And the things that Mercedes enjoys doing as her dopamine routine.
Disney?
No, ma'am.
Disney?
That is not for me, right? That is absolutely not for me. So if you had to leave our audience today with 3 tips about how to create a dopamine routine for them, what's the advice that you would give them today?
That's so hard. You're such a great co-host. Aww.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Give me my check.
Girl, what check? We gotta get the check first. Hey. No, okay. Okay, so 3 tips.
Yeah.
So 1, check in with yourself. Like, yeah, to your point, like if you don't know what's giving you that dopamine hit or what's detracting the dopamine for that matter, because sometimes it just get out of there, right? Then you don't know what to pursue more of. You don't know what to embed in your life. And if I would have told you, years ago that, doing coaching calls would have been a dopamine hit, I was like, an hour with somebody on the internet? Girl, no. But it is. So checking in with yourself. 2, set aside time and set aside it in a way that you're not going to be able to forget it, right? So whether you're saying like, I'm going to create a jar, I'm going to put a wallpaper on my phone, a notification, whatever that is, like keep it front and center. And then 3, like work on mindset, right? Because I think that was the biggest thing. It's not, it's not cut and clear, like what certain piece of knowledge or what wisdom is going to shift your mindset. Like for me, it was figuring out like dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's chemically in your brain. That doesn't make any sense, but here we are, right? Like, it's like...
Here we are chasing it.
Shut up!
We are chasing it.
But, think about, where your mindset is when you're feeling low energy and high energy, and start to unpack, why you're feeling that way. Like, how did you get into that situation of being so low and not being able to kind of throw yourself your own lifesaver? Oh my gosh, I wanted to say lightsaber. It's not right.
Okay.
It's not right either way. Anyway,
okay.
Lifesaver, and figure out how to embed those things. And I think unless you're thinking about your mindset, reflecting, and making it part of every day where it's ingrained, all 3 of those things, that's going to be hard.
So what I hear you saying, build awareness.
Yes, awareness.
Requires awareness.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Wow.
That's why you're the ISTJ and I'm the INFJ. We should put that in our things. So what you said after that 10-minute rant was...
let an ISTJ bring it all together for you.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we're gonna have to do a profile ISTJ, 2 Scorpios, and ISTJ, INFJ.
Yes.
And what are you for disc? Oh, we're both the same.
Oh, we're both, yeah.
Okay, we're both the same disc. Anyway, so in IC, no, I.
High
I, and
yeah.
Secondary C. Okay, well, if any of our people are out there, let us know. So the one last question that I had on our talking points now is, how is life better? And I think it's this understanding that all of these different pieces of chasing your goals and chasing dopamine, understanding what that is and how it plays a part in my life has allowed me to live a more balanced life, has allowed me to better pursue my goals because I've shifted what I do and how I do it. And so I hope that my life will continue to, not have me in therapy, girl.
Well, you can still be in therapy.
Yeah, that's true. You can always be in therapy.
Because I can't always answer the phone.
Well, Brandon answers the phone always.
Brandon can't answer the phone all the time.
He mostly does.
He don't know better yet.
Oh.
I'm just joking.
Well, he's
I'm just joking.
Doing fine. Somebody gonna pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so until next time, we're wishing you all of the best with chasing your 100 goals, and we're excited to probably release what goal number 2 is. Do we know what that is? I feel like we need to do one of yours now.
Goal number 2?
We didn't pick goal number 2.
Oh. Well, I guess it'll just have to be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise.
You know what? I really think we should probably just stick these in a jar and just pull them out.
Oh my gosh, that would actually be fun. We should have, a Chasing 100 podcast jar.
Yeah.
Club jar.
Yeah,
Oops.
we should. I think that would be great.
All right, Chasers. Well, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.